Hey everybody, I wanted to shoot a quick video and show you guys this greenhouse I built. I've got a lot of people that have been asking me questions about it, and many are interested in building their own. So I thought I'd give you a quick tour and show you exactly how I made this thing, and maybe you can make one for yourself. So let's go on inside and see what we've got here, okay? As you can see, it's basically just made out of cattle panels. These cattle panels run about 50 inches tall by 16 feet wide. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, which makes a greenhouse just a little over 16 feet long. Okay, the base of the greenhouse, I'll let you come on back here and take a look. You can see I used 2x6s. The original plans actually called for 2x4s, but I wanted this to be a little bit more sturdy, so I used 2x6s instead. So you can use either or. Just note that if you use 2x6s like I did, it's harder to move this thing around. My plan eventually is to raise this up some and then mount wheels on the back of it that can help me to move this along with the tractor. So yeah, basically all it is you've got a either a 2x4 or a 2x6 frame, the size of the greenhouse you want to do. Now the width of this greenhouse is about 7.5 feet wide. Using these cattle panels, you really can't go too much wider than that, because as you widen out the greenhouse, the cattle panels tend to get shorter and shorter as far as the height clearance that you have when you start to put these in. So 7.5 feet, 8 foot maybe, but you really don't want to go over 7.5 if you can help it. So the way this is built is you basically make your frame out of either your 2x4s or 2x6s, 7.5 feet wide, and then however long you want it. You can just take however long you want, divide that by 50 inches. That'll tell you how many cattle panels you need to make up that amount of length. Once you make your box frame and make sure that it's square, then all you do basically is you put these cattle panels in on one side, on the inside, and then bend them in so they fit onto this other side. So you can see here how they've been basically stapled in with fence stapling. And you see I've got some going this direction to hold the panels from going to the left and right. And then I also have some down here keeping the panels from moving up and down. It's important that you get both of those actually. So, and then as far as connecting these panels, I just put duct tape up here. The duct tape, I wouldn't recommend that. I would probably put wire or maybe bread ties even, something like that to do this. Just because the duct tape and the heat and the moisture just tends to get all brittle and gross. As you can see, it's kind of coming apart. No big deal. You can even tack weld these if you know anybody who's a welder, or if you're a welder. That works very, very well. And as you can see, I've kind of hodgepodged everything together. This is an old table that came out of my grandmother's backyard, I believe. And this is the bench seat, one of the 2 bench seats that came with it. You see they're kind of rickety and whatnot, but it's working okay for now. I do also have some wire racks that I want to put along this wall. And you can see when I made this greenhouse, I made one side wider. As you can see, this is a wider or a deeper pocket to work in than this side, because I always intend to be putting more of my fruits and vegetables on this side, and then put those wire racks over here in this more narrow space. I think that would work just fine. As you can see, I got plenty of stuff coming in. I've got cucumbers and different types of lettuce. A lot of the lettuce has already been put out into the soil, but I still have plenty more here. Different types of tomatoes here. Here's some Roma tomatoes that I transplanted into bigger pots. This right here is kale. It hasn't come up yet. I just planted this the other day, so we're gonna let that warm up in here, and hopefully it'll sprout here shortly. I don't see any coming up right now though. Then on this side, you can see here in the back, I have some different pots and things like that. I got a bunch of these when I was working at the factory. Had a bunch of folks save these for me, and so I've been using those for planters. This is my workbench. As you can see, this is just kind of a hodgepodge frame that has, these are actually baking racks. And that works very, very well, but I use this for transplanting and for potting plants. As you can see, I've got a few more things down here. Got some squash and watermelons that have not come up yet. I just planted those right before the cold snap. And then over here, all kinds of different tomatoes. We got a bunch of Roma tomatoes. Some of these need to go ahead and be transplanted. More lettuce. Several different kinds of peppers here. Got some bell peppers. Thank you, Lee, for the bell pepper stuff here. And pepperoncinis. I think I got that from Lee also. Thank you very much. Got some Rutgers tomatoes growing in here. Got some cherry tomatoes coming in. Bunch of cilantro. I've got cilantro going. Different types of basil. Both two different kinds of sweet basil. One that I purchased, and then one that a friend gave me here that's doing very, very well too. So thank you for that, Caroline. Your basil is doing very, very nicely. But anyways, as far as the greenhouse goes, as you can see, what I did was just kind of hodgepodged everything together. Really, I'm gonna put up a list of items that you might want to get to build a greenhouse. But really, some of this stuff is you can get away with not using certain things or substituting certain things. This has really worked well for me. I know these are actually for like building table legs and things, but for me, it actually works to put a fan right here. I can mount a small fan right here. I put this bubble wrap up because the temperatures were getting really, really cold. I can go ahead and take this down now. Don't need this now that it's starting to warm up. But I'll show you what I'm talking about. Back here in the back, I have a couple fans. This smaller fan right here does very well. I can mount it right here, and that's why I've got those like that. Got an electrical plug right here that I can plug it into, and because I went with a 16-foot greenhouse, the panels actually were just slightly longer than the 16-foot boards I had, which works out very well because it creates this nice overhang, and it protects the fans, so that's nice to have. Another thing that I did, as you can see here, is that I just used these clips, these little clips that you can find at, I don't know, Staples or any place like that, any kind of office supply store. Walmart ought to have those. And the reason why I use these clips to put these on is, first of all, I had them, so always recycling. And secondly, it allows me to, like back here in the back, let me show you what I'm talking about. It allows me to regulate the temperature in here a little bit more. Right now, let's see, the temperature gauge, I'm almost up to 80 degrees in here, and the day is probably getting up to 56 or 57 degrees today. So what happens is in the summertime, especially here in the South, it gets so very hot that I have decided to clip these on. As you can see, I'm taking these little clips off right there. I do it that way so I can actually open this up. Open this up, and then I'll just clip this up here with those same clips that I just used. And because this end is kind of under the trees, it allows a really nice cool breeze to come in here through these trees, helping to regulate the temperatures in here, because as you guys know, I mean, the South gets oppressingly hot. And when it's like 80 to 90 degrees outside, this greenhouse is 100 plus. So it makes sense to be able to open these up. Same thing up here. If I wanted to, I could literally take these down, take these clips down and just pull this back a little bit. Same thing here. I can pull these curtains up, and I just use clothespins actually to hold them up. Let me show you. So just use a clothespin here, and pin these doors back. Kind of like that. But that's the idea, to help kind of regulate temperatures in here. I can create a nice breeze and almost make this more into a into kind of like a high tunnel instead of a greenhouse so much. And with this breeze coming through here, it'll cool this off another 20 degrees just by having those ends open. I want to show you too, once I put this plastic up, you might be wondering how in the world we got that, how we have that fastened on the outside here. I wanted to kind of show you this too. You could just technically just pull the plastic down and then just staple it right here. But I find that as the plastic keeps moving in the wind and things like that, that they tend to pull out. So instead, I took some trim. I don't know if you can see this. It's just a piece of that trim that's like 90 degrees on two sides and then round on the one side. It's corner trim. And as the plastic sheet came around, I cut it off a little bit long and then rolled that up underneath. And then actually from the inside, just nailed those boards down. And the reason for that is because it creates less places where the actual plastic can be ripped out by wind. As you can see, with it not being stapled down, instead just being curled under and then that board nailed down, there's nothing out here to be ripped out from the wind as the wind blows this plastic. This right here actually was something that the dogs did, so they can't blame that on anything else. Right, puppy? Huh? Ain't that right? Yeah, that's right. He's a good boy. Yes, he is. Okay, so anyways, and then another thing I've done here is that I've just added some bungee cords. I've added this big one here inside that just kind of holds the hose for me. And then I've got a shorter one, a smaller one out here. So when I'm working outside, I can also just hang that up. And that's really handy to have that instead of having to pick it up off the ground all the time. That's kind of handy to have that. And I may eventually change that into a wheeled hose carrier or something. I'm not sure. That's the cool thing about this, as you use the greenhouse and realize that certain things aren't working, certain things are working, you can certainly make adjustments. That's no problem. Also, a very important thing to have in a greenhouse is a thermometer. You want to know how hot it's getting in here, because a lot of these plants I have right now, the lettuce, spinach, and some of the other cool weather plants, you certainly don't want those getting too hot. And right now it's kind of, you want to keep a moderate temperature that allows for the lettuce to do okay, but also is not too cold for the tomatoes and stuff. So right now we're looking at almost 70 degrees right now. It was 80 earlier in here, but as I opened those ends, you can see it really cools off fast. And I've even closed everything back up because it was getting a little too chilly in here. So, but anyways, I'm really interested in helping anybody who's interested in making a greenhouse. What I would like to see is for anybody who I help to build a greenhouse, the next person comes along, I'd like to see you guys help them build a greenhouse too. This is not that difficult. It's not rocket science, that's for sure. But it sure can make a difference if you're trying to take back your food supply and get it back from the corporations and whatnot. This really makes a huge difference, having your own greenhouse and being able to grow your own food. It makes a huge difference. That cold spell we had the last couple days, I actually just used the electrical plug, ran it down to about the middle over these wires here, just kind of ran it down the middle and then put a small one-room heater in here, and it kept the temperatures about 45 degrees in this greenhouse when outside I think it was got down to like 27 degrees. So it, one heater's been able to keep this thing moderate enough temperatures that I have. It does not look like I've lost anything. It looks like everybody's doing great in here. So that's something to keep in mind too. So that's pretty much it. If any of you guys are interested in having help building your greenhouse, I would love to do that. Anybody who knows me, this is the kind of project I really enjoy doing. So I'm going to put up a list of supplies that you might want to get. But like I said, a lot of this stuff I've hodgepodged together. You can always, instead of using these metal brackets and stuff, you can definitely just toenail these in, these boards here. Same thing with these ends. You can just toenail these in instead of using these. If I had what I really, really wanted here, I would have just used T-brackets. But I didn't have any T-brackets, and I wasn't going to make a special trip into town while I was building this, so that's just the way it ended up. But, so this is the greenhouse. You can see it's about 7.5 feet wide by 16 feet long, and I can put a heck of a lot more plants in here than what I have right now. But this is only my second year using this greenhouse. The plastic I'm using is a 6 mil plastic, and when I bought this, I bought two 10-foot by 25-foot sheets. I used two of those. The 25-foot goes up over the greenhouse because it's obviously 16 foot wide with the panels. And then 10 feet wide here. As you can see, there's a little bit of an overlap here. And 10 feet wide to the end. So really I have 20 foot of plastic here. I cut the ends off and used those for literally the ends of the greenhouse. That's what I did. But seriously, if any of you guys are interested in making your own greenhouse, I would love to help you out. Those of you who are in Georgia and stuff, if you'll help me get the gas to get there and back, I would be glad to help you guys with this. I'll put up a list of the items that you need. And if you need some help, I will be glad to bring all the tools we need, the saws and whatnot. And let's get this stuff done. Not doing too much right now, so I can certainly make it your way. I would love to help you out. Peace out, y'all.